I'm pulling out the parachute, jumping out the plane. You had it all in front of you, nothing feels the same. It's crazy what love can do, even crazier when it's not coming back to you. You say you need space, so I gave you all the states. Every night a different place. Used to think we're getting close, and now we're drifting away. And all I can say is that I'm feeling wasted. I could get drunk off the lights of a city. Late night phone calls just to say you miss me, but you don't. No, you don't. Drop my phone now, that shit's broken. 2 a.m. and I'm lost in Brooklyn, missing home. I know you don't.
When we were on, I always thought we would make it. Now you're gone.
I could get drunk off the lights of a city. Late night phone calls just to say you miss me, but you don't. No, you don't. Drop my phone now, that shit's broken. 2 a.m. and I'm lost in Brooklyn, missing home. I know you don't. When we were on, I'd always thought we would make it, but now you're gone. Baby, you're a ghost. I'm caught up in a landslide, mental on the low end. When I used to feel alive, now there's a hole in the city, can't feel shit. Where do I go? Cause I know you don't feel this. Can't catch a break, for God's sakes. Feel like I'm waking up and I'm caught in the wake. Yeah, I know this is my funeral on parade. I did it to myself cause I always thought you would feel the same, and I know you don't. Drunk off the lights of a city. Late night phone calls just to say you miss me, but you don't. No, you don't. Drop my phone now, that shit's broken. 2 a.m. and I'm lost in Brooklyn, missing home. I know you don't. Let's hit the brakes. I'm pulling out the parachute, jumping out the plane. You had pull another of your cigarettes out. Fuck, I always feel so burned out. I never smoked before I met you. Now I chain smoke the way I like to kiss you. Cause I know you're with them while I'm here, staring at a red light. Stopped, windows down, cursing at the street signs. When every road could lead me back to the memories that we once had, yeah. Tell me how this so easily falls apart. Cause damn, you still fucking have my heart. And all I have is another of your cigarettes lit, but not a single fuck left to give. I could explode, I feel like gasoline when you're mad at me. Lit a match in the wind, so I'm asking please. I try to cope, go through the motions, no, I got a noose around my throat. Fuck, I love you, but I know that I should let you go. Situations got me pressed in, I'm on overload. I'm on overload, so another of your cigarettes out. Fuck, I always feel so burned out. I never smoked before I met you. Now I chain smoke the way I like to kiss you. Cause I know you're with them while I'm here, staring at a red light. Stopped, windows down, cursing at the street signs. When every road could lead me back to the memories that we once had, yeah. Tell me how this so easily falls apart. Cause damn, you still fucking have my heart. falls apart. 'Cause damn, you still fucking have my heart. And all I have is another of your cigarettes lit.
Hello and welcome to the Smite Draft League Season 2 Divine Division Draft Reveal. I'm your host, Anthony Malum, and I'm thrilled to be joined by some of the loveliest people we've got in our community. We got King Fisher representing SDL merch. We've got Nathan DePaulo and SEAL Team Coordinator with us tonight. And we're going to be revealing the highly anticipated draft picks for the Divine Division. So get ready as we take us through our final draft before we begin season number 2. So sit back, relax, and let's start revealing captains, team names, and all that fun stuff. But let's start with a word from the league coordinator for the Divine Division, Nathan DePaulo.
Anthony, thank you. Thank you very much. I am Nathan DePaulo. Let me just tell you, longtime listener, first time caller, really happy to be here and super excited to see your handsome face. You know, this is a nice addition. I think I love what you've done with the place.
Thank you.
So
I try.
I don't want to say a whole lot. I don't want to slow us down because I know everyone is excited to see how this plays out. But there's a few beats that I've been hitting just as this has been, progressing. And I want to make sure that anyone who's watching gets to hear this. The Divine Division, as competitive as Challenger was last year, which everyone who was part of SDL Season 1 knows that Challenger was where the goods were at. No offense to anybody else, but it was exciting. It was high drama. There was a lot of great teams, and they were competitive and well-matched. And I think we're going to see a lot of that coming up. The pool of players that's in this draft eligible list, they are great players. And I'm really excited to see what teams manage to develop out through this draft. And I'm really excited to see them play against each other coming up. I think that the captains have really prepared for this draft. I talked to them leading up to this quite a bit, and they've all got different strategies that they're implementing. But they have very much done their homework, done their scouting, spent a lot of time getting to know these players and figure out, what they're wanting and what sort of roles they prioritize. The other thing that I want to point out is that there's also a lot of new faces to the SDL. And when picking captains, that was something that we considered, was not just having it be the same people from last season. We've got some new Season 2 players as captains. And so it's going to be really interesting to see, what sort of decisions they make and what sort of leadership they bring. And so, yeah, like I said, I'm excited to see how this plays out. I really can't wait to see the results. I'm sure everyone else here. And I think that there's going to be some surprises. I think that there's going to be some real interesting picks for who goes when. So that's all I had to say. Love you guys. Love the production value. Love what you guys are bringing. And that's it for me. I'll hand it off back to you.
Thank you so much, Nathan, and well said across the board. Your love for your division is eminent, and I'm excited to see what you and Seal and the Divine Division bring to the SDL for Season 2. But let's stop waiting. Let's stop being cute. Let's get to the fun stuff. Let's start showing captains, and let's start showing team names. Did you like that effect? We like that effect too. In the top left corner, we've got Team Flourish with the captain, Flippin' Ninjas, followed by Sanctified with King of Darkness, Wild Inferno for all the Pele stands, led by Zoinked. That's a fun name to say. Sunbreakers with Cactus Arms at the helm. Baked Goods will be leading Oathkeepers. King Slayers featuring Cooter, Eclipse, and Mental Depressed. And rounding us off and cleaning us up, we've got Dark Omen led by Gear Chief. All right, Kingfisher, Seal, welcome on in. Let's start with you, Kingfisher. Are you guys excited for the first reveal here? Or more importantly, are you excited to start the season here as we finish off with the Divine Division?
I really am. We've liked a lot of the drafts up until this point. They've all been really cool, and especially seeing some of the players fall. I think in this draft there will be a lot that we maybe expected would go in some of the higher rounds, have had a really big impact, and more importantly, I think Nathan mentioned in the intro we're going to see a lot of new faces, but also hoping to see some players back from last season, the more experienced one. Going to be interesting to see what they can bring to teams and how captains are going to really prioritize all those different factors.
All right, and Seal, you're juggling dogs, so it's gonna be a fun time for you to get some
Hey,
pieces in
welcome
here. But
everybody.
but take me through. I know you're very passionate about the Divine Division this season as well, so please take me through what you expect to see from not just from the draft, but from the season we have ahead.
Well, I expect it to be an absolute dogfight. I think that I don't want to go out on too much of a limb here, but we've got some excellent players. We had Masters players make it through the draft. It's been pretty amazing. So I just can't wait. Can't wait to go through these picks.
I cannot wait either. So I think with that, let's stop waiting, test out some of those new emotes in the chat because we've got the number 1 overall pick for Divine to reveal. Flippin' Ninjas on Team Flourish selects Z Tantalus, number 1 overall. Kingfisher, let's start with you. Talk to me about our pentakill pal from season number 1.
Yeah, I mean, there's really not much shock value in this draft pick. I think most of the casters thought this was going to be the top selection off the board. Was really surprised he didn't go into the Immortal draft. But all the same, the first overall pick, I think a role swap from last season. He was on ADC, now moving over to mid, but still bringing that same pressure and a lot of value to this team. It's a great first pick. You really can't go wrong with Tantalus.
Yeah, it's hard to envision a world where that isn't a strong selection. It sets your team up for a lot of spread potential. We saw Ztan run mid in scouting grounds. We obviously know the ADC is strong, so you can go a lot of different directions here, which is very important. With that, we have Sanctified coming up next. Pick number 2, King of Darkness selects Rayhum. Welcome to Divine Division, Ray, and we'll go back to you, Kingfisher. Talk to me here about the mid preferred Rayhum.
I definitely like the pick, and we're seeing a little bit of a theme already with 2 middle picks in a row. It's definitely a smart move. I think we saw SPL play-ins today, especially mid, can just have really, really massive impacts. Getting yourself a solid player in that mid lane is really key, and hopefully it's one that King of Darkness can really vibe well with. That mid 3v3, even though there's a lot less focus on it this season, it still can absolutely make or break rosters. So adding really good pieces to that puzzle, I always like.
For sure, and Rayhum has Yu Huang, Merlin, Thoth listed, all fantastic selections, and really will prove to be meaningful character selections because those characters tell me that there is a wide god pool probably behind that. They play similar to a lot of other characters. So a nice selection here at number 2 for King of Darkness. Heading into the number 3 selection, Wild Inferno, Zoinked are ready to reveal. Coming at number 3, support mains rise up. We've got Deputy Lucky, strictly playing off supports due to the game being too damn easy. That's my notes for Deputy Lucky. We love those notes from the captains. Fisher, talk to me about a support going number 3 here.
I mean, if the other drafts had anything to say, definitely a little bit out of the ordinary. I still like that though, and Zoinked in the jungle luckily doesn't have to worry about that. I think it's been one of the most contested roles and important, but picking up a tank is really essential. And I mean, just looking at the top 3 picks, they put Anubis, Rama, and Apollo. All 3 just iconic supports. So it's definitely going to be
Absolutely.
interesting and should really open up their team comps a lot on Wild Inferno.
I think if we get to cast a Rama snipe support kill secure objective steal, I think we can say we had a good season at the end of all things. I love that selection. All right, moving on. We've got Sunbreakers coming up. Pick number 4 reveal is ready to go. And if you watch the opening game of Scouting Grounds and you saw this player go crazy, we've got Evan TGW going to Cactus Arms. What a selection. Kingfisher, talk to me. We both watched that game. We were both a part of that set. And the game that sticks out in my brain to this day is that Soul ADC.
I mean, Soul ADC is nasty, no matter who it's on, but especially piloted it really, really well that game. And another mid pick, surprising absolutely nobody so far in this draft, should bring a really, really good god pool. Especially, I mean, yeah, a lot of pressure. It's a really, really tightly contested role and gives that opportunity to flex into ADC with some really similar god pools.
Yeah, and picking up an ADC mid here is huge. We saw in the scouting ground set I'm referring to, Evan went ADC, but mid is the preferred listed role. So clearing that up and having somebody who can flex in those roles is so important. I mean, we saw that towards the end of both Godlike and the end of Immortal Division, the ADCs were starting to run thin quickly. So you've got to get while the getting's good, essentially. But up next, we've got Oathkeepers, Captain Baked Goods. Their first selection, we've got the real Sylvanas, who will be dealing with a mid-season ping change. Not going to be easy for the real Sylvanas, but that speaks to the skill, that speaks to the trust, that speaks to the team. Kingfisher, give me some thoughts here on the real Sylvanas, and do we think that there might be Sylvanas in that god pool?
Absolutely not. Sylvanas just one of the worst gods in the
For
game
sure.
right now. But yeah, no, I would definitely expect it. Sylvanas is in a good place right now, and luckily so is the real Sylvanas, another one of the few Masters players that we had left, slinking down now into the Godlike division. Should be a really, really strong pick, and plays a lot of aggressive supports. I mean, the Bacchus, Sylvanas, Cabrakan should bring a lot of pressure to a role that sometimes doesn't really see that. So I like what he's going to bring to Oathkeepers, and coupled with Baked Goods, should make for some really, really nice plays out of the mid game.
I agree. And what's fascinating me is we've seen the trends change with each draft. Godlike was definitely securing their junglers first. We saw Radmilk go number 1 overall. We saw things take a bit of a change. We actually saw a solo lane first pick up for Immortal. And now we're really seeing that duo lane be the priority so far here in Divine. And I think that speaks to where these guys are going to go. We see the roles are very spread out for all the captains as well. So this is a difficult draft to manage, but the player pool is so deep, it really gives them the ability to get through it. All right, Kingslayers is up next, and they pick with the number 6 selection, Strat. King Fisher, talk to me about the fun name to say. That was a good one. That felt good.
Yeah, definitely hope he brings a lot of strategic thinking to that team. Oh, ho, ho, his name is Strat. But now that's going to lock out the back, the back
Did you
line.
think I was lying?
Oh, I don't know. I mean, who knows? Maybe just a smart player, but that is going to lock out the backline for King Slayers. Already had an ADC, and that's a role we've also seen really, really fall off in these drafts. Normally not prioritized, but it should allow King Slayers to be a little bit more selective when it gets to later rounds, and especially being able to develop that synergy with your top 2 players. It really can't be overlooked, so I definitely like this pick for them.
Yeah, I agree completely. It was in all the different match results that we could see from Scouting Grounds. That was certainly some of the more fascinating games. There were a bit of the more spread out match results, but hey, that is what ultimately can show some hidden skill away and around. All right. Eclipse is up. We've got their first selection to reveal to you. And who is it? Well, it's none other than the thief himself. Hide your pentakills, because number 7 is Looney Tunes. Kingfisher, talk to me about the monster who stole Akamaru's pentakill.
I think not only stole begins to cover it, but like blatantly stole, whooped in the air and just takes it. No glory for the Thanatos that game. But also the first ADC we're gonna be off the board. Gonna see off the board rather. A little bit surprised. I think Mental Depressed being a jungler would opt to pick up a solo laner or a mid, someone they're gonna work a little bit more closely with. Blocking down the opposite side of the map. We've talked a lot about ADCs and the kind of spots they're in, but does bring a few really interesting gods. Hachiman, Charybdis are 2 that I really like that I know Looney plays, so it definitely should be interesting to see how well he's able to perform on this roster, but should be a really good cornerstone to start that draft.
I'm seeing accusations of you being a pentathief as well, so we'll have to discuss that
Those are
further after
completely unfounded.
draft. We'll have to see. We'll have to open some tickets and discuss. We'll have to get the HR team on the case. Dark Omen's up, and they've got number 8 and number 9. Let's start with number 8. We've got the solo jungler Spence Spark. That's another fun name. The divine names are fantastic. And Kingfisher, talk to me about Sparky.
Yeah, I think like you said, Dark Omen now has 2 solo laners on the roster, but given that in Scouting Grounds, I think we saw Spence on the jungle, I
Yeah, I
think
remember a
played
pretty nasty Thanatos game.
yeah, Thanatos and Achilles, and played pretty well on both of them. So I guess I would assume he's going to be the team's jungler. Gear Chief will opt to stay in solo, but still brings a lot of variety and especially some interesting gods out of the jungle. That role has so much diversity right now, and getting someone that can really match that hard to target ban, it's definitely a good move. And solo jungle early, Dark Omen, that's going to be a really scary two to go against.
Yeah, I don't envy the Divine Division. That's one of the reasons I like to cast. I'm going to deal with these monster teams. But Dark Omen, number 9 reveal up next, getting to take 2 in a row. What does that bring you? That gets you an ADC. Last season I called him Born to Wall. This season I'll try to remember to call you Born to Meme. Kingfisher, talk to me about about Born to Meme. One of the best Ymir walls I saw all last season, and this time running it down in the opposite role in the duo lane.
Yeah, really scary in the opposite role too. I played a couple games against him, and he absolutely rolled me in the duo lane. Another really good pick, and now we're starting to see the ADCs pick up a little bit. 3 on the last 3 teams, and I liked Born to Meme. He does really well on magical ADCs too. I mean, those are insanely ensconced in the meta right now, so having somebody that can really perform on those picks is going to be a really good start for Dark Omen. Those top 3, it's a scary team to go against right now.
It is indeed. These picks are just this season. These divisions are out of this world. Let's keep it going. Let's go to the moon. Eclipse is up. Number 10, Cube the Face. We've got a mini Sugar Babies reunion cooking up here on Eclipse, and I am digging it. Talk to me about Cube.
I mean, I really like this pick. It's going to be another mid laner. Kind of been a theme so far this draft. But that being said, does bring a lot of really interesting gods. Likes playing Set and Cleo in mid. And in this meta right now, we see assassins all over the map. And the ability to take that to the lane is really going to help. And above that, yet another Masters players we see falling to the Divine Division. Wow, I forgot the name for a second there. That would have been bad. But yeah, I mean, a good pick all around and should synergize really well with Mental Depressed.
And that was a huge theme of the Immortal division. We saw a lot of those teams were, while the skill level was certainly there, we saw a huge emphasis on comms and synergy and keeping things clean, keeping things secure and happy. And that's undeniably important in getting through this season. You got to keep the comms happy as possibly can be. But all right, we've got another selection coming up, and this time, ooh, we got another familiar face popping up. Who is it for the King Slayers? It is Dashiway. Go ahead, talk to me about. We saw Dashiway so many times. It feels like in season 1. Get to see him more in season 2. Talk to me about him.
Definitely like seeing another one of the veterans return to the SDL this season. Gonna be really interesting to see what they're able to bring. I mean, they already got a killer backline on the Kingslayers, and adding in a really good solo laner is gonna do nothing but help, and brings a really diverse god roster too. I mean, Cthulhu, King Arthur, Gilgamesh, all kind of stylistically different. If he's able to perform on all of them at the same level, it's gonna bring so much variety to that team. I like this for Kingslayers, and I think it's gonna play really well into the rest of their picks.
Keeping with the idea of locking down the fraggers early, fighting out of the ADC preferred role, we've got an Oathkeepers, number 12, Gunaholic. These names are so good. I can't get over it. I'm excited every time. Talk to me about the Gun Addict.
I mean, I think you covered it. One of the coolest names in the draft. I believe that was also another season 1 veteran, if I'm not mistaken. And I mean, I wrote down they play meta, and you always like to see that in ADC. It's been switching up a lot lately. Should be able to synergize with baked goods as well. And they got that dual lane locked in early. I think I talked about it in the first draft as well, having synergy between the individual roles that react or interact with each other a lot. I really like to see Oathkeepers prioritizing the dual lane this early.
I do as well. I think that's important to get locked down, get secure, and know your plan for the season. That is not something that come week 2, week 3, you can still be figuring out. You got to keep it clean and quickly. Sunbreakers are up. Oh, excuse me. Actually, we're gonna head on back here. We're gonna touch on Gunaholic and Heal here from Seal. Got me tripping on words. I'm so excited to hear from you.
Oh, good. I just wanted to say that, I was one of the first to welcome Gunny to the league, and he's just got a great attitude. He's super fun to play with, and I really appreciate it.
Hey, that's important, and that goes. We talked about it a bunch here, but that goes alongside this synergy and that theme, and keeping your team happy is as important as keeping your team cracked. Realistically. All right, Sunbreakers are up. My favorite team name, my favorite number 13, and who is it? It's Koala Mang. Talk to me about the ADC mid preferred, Fisher.
I mean, I think like Evan gonna bring a lot of backline presence. That's the right word, even if they end up switching roles. Likes to play Ishtar and Cupid, and I think Ishtar in particular, so good right now. We've seen kind of a switch to a lot of off metas ADCs, but being able to dominate on a pick that strong really can't be overlooked. And getting the backline locked in already has Cactus Arms and one of the best supports, I think, in the league. Cactus just performs well time and time again, so it should be another really good duo lane to watch out for. I feel like I've talked about that a lot, but all these duo lanes so far look really nice.
Somewhere Locken is extremely jealous of you, I have to say. Because for Locken, every single time I was going back for ADC role, and then eventually I started throwing him off with some jungles, and now we got all ADCs, and Locken's nowhere to be found. All right, moving on to Wild Inferno, pick number 14. We've got Hey 901, an ADC who went crazy in the scouting grounds. I remember Jeffrey talking about Hey a lot. The only problem Jeffrey had was wards, so let's clean that up, Hey. But otherwise, congratulations, welcome to the league. Fisher, talk to me about the ADC.
I mean, as a fellow ward hater, I definitely do get it. I don't like placing wards
I
in
knew you'd bring it
casuals.
up. I knew you'd bring it up, and I'm
Hey,
already upset.
I mean, to be fair, once we get to the league, definitely like to see a few wards. But like you said, had an amazing scouting ground performance. Another player really dropping division slot. They might be taken in Immortal strictly off that performance, but should bring some really good atmosphere to this Wild Inferno team. Synergize well with the rest of the team as well, you'd hope. They're still missing a mid laner and a solo though, but Hey 901 should really help to shore up some of those holes.
Continuing with the theme of impressive scouting grounds, coming in at pick number 15 from Sanctified, we've got Nico Drin. Awesome scouting grounds, went crazy in every game I saw, and another player. These teams are rounding out to be powerhouses across the board. Give me a bit of insight on Nico Drin.
I mean, Powerhouses definitely covers it. The combo of Nico and King of Darkness should be a really strong front line. Plays a lot of those kind of traditional solo laners right now. Guan Yu, Kakul, and King Arthur, all of whom are absolutely terrifying to go up against. And I mean, should perform really well on those, I hope. And being able to combo with a support like that, it should make Sanctified definitely a force to be reckoned with.
For sure, some competitive experience as well from Nico Drim, which is going to prove to be very valuable as we head into Season 2, which is full of veterans and skill, as well as new and hungry competitors. All right, up next with 16 and 17, we have Flourish. Let's start with 16, and it is Frostech. That is a impactful solo laner. We're starting to see a bit of a trend. Kingfisher, can you start to talk to me about the solo lane in general, as well as Frostech?
I mean, I think looking at solo lane in general, especially if we look at the SPL play-ins that have been happening this week, it's such a good role right now. You can absolutely hard carry games from it. There are so many picks that you can make work as well. And being able to see somebody like Frostech really take over that role and dominate should be fun to see. Played a few in-houses with him the other day. Really clean comms and a really good performance all the time. Definitely like seeing him on this Flourish draft, and we're going to have to see who Flippin' Ninjas pairs with him because he's got another pick coming up here.
He does, but I'm curious before we get into that, were you on the same team as Frostech, or did you get farmed?
I believe it was one of I would have gotten farmed by anyone. I don't think that's specific to him, but I
Low
believe
standards.
both with and against an absolute powerhouse and a really good presence.
I just like to keep you honest. I can't talk about Cub and Asian and their in-houses and not come for you as well. All right, pick number 17, like you said, Flourish selects Vulture. I like that name too. These names are fantastic. I love the Divine Division. Kingfisher, talk to me about Vulture.
I do really like seeing this pick as well. A very, very strong ADC in their own right, and plays a lot of good picks too. I mean, Soul, Ishtar, Chronos, Medusa. It's a lot of really, really strong picks out of that duo lane. And already, or I guess, oh, not yet, a support picked for Flourish. So it's going to be interesting to see who they're going to pair them up with in that lane. But regardless, should still be a really good performance on the right side of that map.
Yeah, that's so far one of the only teams that's chosen to take it a bit more lackadaisical, picking up that support. But Flippin' Ninjas has been quick and concise with these picks. The plan's coming together, so we'll have to see when we get back for pick number 32 what it is. But for now, we've got pick number 18. And who is it? It is for Sanctified Barky J. Talk to me about the Bark Dog.
The Bark Dog, that's a great nickname. All right, we're going to use that a lot, I think. But I do like the pick, brings a lot of really strong gods right now. I mean, Set and Dodgy definitely both top echelon at the moment. Maybe Dodgy a little less so, but still really, really powerful. And matching up with the rest of this team, another one only missing one role now, no ADC. But I mean, paired up with Rayhum and King of Darkness, I feel like I've also talked about them in 3v3 a lot. But it's going to be scary. That mid-game transition should be a lot easier with Barky J on that roster. Sanctified already stacking up to look really, really strong this season.
We've got pick number 19 coming up from Wild Inferno. And if this is not a lesson as to why to give me captain's notes, I don't know what is. We've got X Squid 2 mid coming up, getting white girl wasted off the White Claws on the weekend. Welcome to Divine Squid 2 mid. And Kingfisher, talk to me about Captain White Claw.
Captain Whiteclaw, definitely a great nickname for him. But yeah, another one in the in-houses a few days ago. Plays mid a lot, like the name would suggest. So you aren't getting tricked with that one. But plays a lot of strong gods, a lot of variety in that god pool. Especially, I mean, we already talked about Hey 901 having a really, really great scouting grounds. Now the fact that these two are on the same team, going to be able to dominate backlines and frontlines alike together, it should be a really strong mix for Wild Inferno. And I really, really like that team comp so far. This whole team is honestly stacking up great.
Most of these teams are, and it speaks to the quality of our players. Sunbreakers back on. We got the number 20 reveal. Fighting out of the solo lane, we've got another Season 1 veteran, the Optic Blaster. Kingfisher, we must have casted 45 and a half games of the Optic Blaster. So talk to me about the solo laner.
We definitely did, and I think definitely worth mentioning. Throughout those 45 games, there was not one meta pick. Plays a lot of really, I would say, odd choices out of the solo lane, but they make them work. I don't think they're that weird. I mean, Fenrir solo, Cabrakan solo, maybe not as weird, but whatever it is, it's never on meta, but it always just throws you for a loop in those picks and drafts. Just having that aspect alone on a team is going to make it so much better, but given the fact his mechanical skill to go with it, absolutely great pick for the Sunbreaker. Should have a really, really good performance season long in that lane. Can definitely adapt to any meta.
All right, coming up next, we've got from the Oathkeepers, pick number 21, fighting out of the jungle and coming to you in about a week, maybe a little over a week. Malware Cookies! Talk to me about the jungler, Kingfisher.
I mean, a really, really good jungler, and I think more than that, his god pool right now really, really suits the meta. Obviously, when you think of Malware Cookies, you think of the Pele. It's a really, really strong performance. We saw it a little bit in the play-ins, but performs great right now. Plays a Susano, the Ravana, all really, really strong picks out of the jungle. It's just going to make your team comp so much better when you're not having to worry about kind of helping a jungler out when they can really go in and get all their own work done. Definitely a good thing to see for Oathkeepers. It should pair up great with the real Sylvanas there.
I do think that's a fantastic pairing. Another pairing that strikes me as interesting that I'm excited to talk about, Kingslayers, number 22, their selection, another solo laner, the Scotia. The solo lane is getting crowded, just like the Kingslayers from Immortal crowded everybody in mid lane. Talk to me about the solo lane here for Kingslayers in Divine.
Yeah, I mean, I think this is the second team we've seen already pick up two main solo laners. I definitely don't hate that. I mean, looking at the other roles too, doesn't have any other selected, so maybe thinking that Scotia is going to be that solo laner for Kingslayer, sent Dashi away to jungle, which would be a little bit of a change from last season, but a really, really big, wide god pool coming from Scotia in the solo lane, so whatever they end up going with, definitely going to see a strong performance. And I love frontline. I love seeing two frontliners get locked in. Whatever order they go, the chemistry from that solo jungle should be absolutely off the charts.
It should be. And, you know, there's something to be said about when these teams get into their new team Discord channels. They start talking, they start meeting. You never know what could come out of those comms. You could get in there and find out that when the Scotia and Dashaway play together, they're actually a nasty duo lane. It really depends on these teams when they get in there and they start talking. All right. Number 23 selection from Team Eclipse. We've got Troll Academy. Talk to me about another Season 1 vet. The theme continues.
I mean, name definitely doesn't do it justice. Not a lot of trolling from Troll Academy. Plays a really, really clean game of Smite, and a strong one, too. Definitely makes impacts all over the map. And looking at the rest of this team, the second mid laner now, the first time we've seen that, but also plays solo and support and brings interesting gods to both. I mean, love having a Kepler Umoja player in the support and solo lane, somebody playing a tier. It's scary. I mean, tier is a scary god, Troll Academy is a scary player. Wherever they go on the map, because not quite sure yet looking at that team comp, but it's going to be a really good pairing no matter what, should bring a lot of value.
Next up, we've got pick number 24. After this pick, we will be taking a very short, less than 5-minute break, and we'll be right back to you to finish up the draft. Dark Omen at number 24. They select, I'm gonna butcher your name, Volgi. That was a tough one. I gotta be careful when I say it. I got through it anyway. Very active member of the community. Welcome to the division. Kingfisher, what do you have on the solo laner?
I mean, first off, I'm going to guess that it's Volg. So you're definitely going to have to correct us in the comments or in a message about how it's pronounced. But, I mean, a third solo laner now for Dark Omen. Forget about 2 solos or 2 mids. We got 3 solos now. So definitely going to be interesting to see how this team comp shakes up. Play support in mid as well, though. So I think, like Troll Academy, the last selection should bring a lot of variety to that team. And the god pool, too. I mean, play some scary gods out in the mid lane. The same with support. Really should support that style of being a very aggressive player no matter where on the map they go. And compared with the rest of the Dark Omen team, I love that. This is already a team that can really, really push the tempo of these games.
And with that, we come to the end of the third round. When we come back after a short 5-minute break, we will finish out this draft, give you a couple small announcements, and then Season 2 begins. Hang out, get cozy, get a snack, take a piddle break, and play with the new emotes in the Twitch chat. We'll be right back on the Smite Draft League.
Now I chain smoke the way I like to kiss you. Cause I know you're with them while I'm here, staring at a red light. Stopped windows down, cursing at the street signs. When every road could lead me back to the memories that we once had, yeah. Tell me how this so easily falls apart. Cause damn, you still fucking have my heart. Tell me how this so easily falls apart. Cause damn, you still fucking have my heart. And all I have is another of your cigarettes lit. Put your lips on me, yeah, I crave the attention. Lost on you, different dimensions, take me away. So fuck a conversation, bite my lips so I can taste your affection. Caught on you, tunnel vision, I can't see anybody else but you. But you, anybody else but you. But you, fuck a conversation, rather get lost in the inspiration. Mornings tangled in the sheets with you. Then you said, fuck a conversation. I can't read your eyes for my motivation. I'm fucked up by the temptation to fall in love. I feel it's true. I'll never see anybody else but you. Can't see anybody else but you. But you. Anybody else but you.
Welcome back. I hope you had a nice break. Once again, huge thank you to Later for the collab with us and letting us use his music for Season 2 of the Smite Draft League. Be sure to go to youtube.com/LaterIRL and check Later out on Spotify and give all the support there. Plus, Later's in chat right now, so be sure to spam him with all of our emotes and show some love and appreciation for the music this season. A couple quick announcements before we get back into the draft. First up, we will be doing a 48-hour stream to raise money for the prize pool this season. So, if you are a streamer within the SDL community with good standing, please open a ticket to talk about participating. You'd be streaming within a specified time slot on the SDL Twitch itself, and any money raised during that time will go directly to the Season 2 prize pool. If you'd like to just donate outright, you can do that in the Discord now. Donations of $25 or more get custom merch for Season 2. Thank you so much, and without further ado, let's get back into the draft and start seeing what these teams got for this season. All right. Let's get right into it. Dark Omen remains up with pick number 25. Out of the mid lane, we've got Neptune Spartan. Kingfisher, we are more than familiar with Neptune Spartan. Talk to me about the mid laner.
Yeah, definitely gonna like seeing them this season. Wow, I can't talk, especially on this Dark Omen team. And it's also gonna help to kind of sort out some of the roster trouble. Well, I think trouble's maybe misphrasing it. But looking at their roles, they got a lot of solo laners, but now locking in what's hopefully a dedicated backline with Born to Meme and Neptune Spartan. Having 3 players that are all frontliners should do absolute wonders for this team, all in roles where they can really, really impact the fights. So I definitely do like this pick. Neptune Spartan going to bring a lot of good vibes, a lot of good skill to this team as well.
Good vibes, good skill. We're talking about it. We've been talking about it. That is a key to this draft. Eclipse, back
just
on.
want to give a
Oh, go ahead. Go right ahead.
just want to give a quick shout out to Neptune. Congratulations on the mid pick, buddy.
And
No
that was
ADC for you.
With the dogs. No ADC this time, but the dogs are so cute. I wish you could see the dogs I get to see. I get to thoroughly enjoy the dogs this stream. It's been getting me through it, honestly. All right. Up next with selection number 26, Eclipse picks Steel. A lot of E's. Gotta get the E's through there. Kingfisher, talk to me about Steel.
I like seeing this Steel pick. I mean, we saw them a little bit last season, played support, I believe, not solo, but still brought a really, really wide God roster to the role, was one of the shining stars on their team who had a little bit of trouble around playoff times. But all that aside, should bring a lot of good value to this team, and I don't think they have a solo yet, so I'll be interested to see whether they end up playing solo or support. Regardless, those should synergize really well with the rest of this roster. I mean, a Steel and Mental Depressed solo jungle is definitely one to be looked out for. It is. I mean, there's no other way to say it. And with the backline they got early in the draft, it's shaping up to be a really, really good team and a really well-rounded one at that.
Up next, we've got King Slayers with one of my favorite usernames, as if my list could get any longer so far. Number 27 is Teach Like a Dad. Get out the notebooks. Kingfisher, you're a student. Talk to me about Teach Like a Dad.
I am a student, and I think a few of my teachers are probably fathers, but I mean, personal questions don't ask. but hopefully should bring a lot of veteran leadership to that roster, and a third solo lane. This is really becoming a theme, picking a lot of players in one role. I mean, if nothing else, having that good knowledge should really help to kind of streamline their playstyle. I'd expect Kingslayers to be a lot more aggressive team comp wise, but that being said, play some really interesting picks in the solo lane if we assume that's where they're going. I mean, Bellona, Horus, Nike, it's another really diverse god pool that we've been seeing this draft, so should bring value to the Kingslayers team, who's now kind of rounded out a little.
Yeah, it's starting to get much cleaner and put together, and that's what I love about these drafts, is watching these teams come together. We've talked about the depth of the pool and how difficult that is to do, and somehow these captains are getting through it. If not in some cases, maybe packing the roles they trust a lot. But the vision, the themes, they're coming together, and I love to see it. All right. Up next, we've got number 28 from the Oath Keepers, Lieutenant Crunch 1012. Welcome to Divine. Kingfisher, talk to me about the Lieutenant salute.
I mean, this is the first, I could be wrong here, but I think this is the first team comp we see where all 5 players have a different starting role. So seeing the Oath Keepers on hopefully their main roles is going to be really interesting. And Lieutenant Crunch as well, also I think plays jungle and ADC, so you already know the god pool there is extremely diverse in the physical picks. We've already seen the solo lane get a lot more kind of spread out in their picks, so definitely having somebody like that on the roster, it's going to be interesting to see what they can do team comp wise, especially with the rest of these players. I think we've talked about a few of them playing a little off gods, so Oath Keepers are going to be a hard team to ban out against.
I completely agree with you. All right, we've got number 29 coming up. Sunbreakers select a Season 1 vet from Unchained. It's a giant dog! Kingfisher, we casted many an Unchained game. Talk to me about a giant dog.
Ooh, Unchained definitely was a very cool name. Love casting those ones. And a giant dog was a really, really good player. A support main as well. Probably be forced off-roll with Cactus Arms there, but plays really good picks. I mean, Ganesha and Maui are scary, scary picks, and it takes a really mechanically sound player to pilot them really well. So I definitely like seeing Giant Dog come onto this roster. Should bring a lot of value to their team. I believe they play jungle, so maybe this is a giant jungle. Fenrir Nemesis also.
Giant jungle. I like
giant jungle, yeah. Also a little bit less meta picks coming from the jungle, but still should bring a really, really good diverse group of gods to this roster. And Sunbreakers now another one of those teams that's starting to look a lot more complete role-wise.
They are indeed. All right, let's see if that role completion theme continues. Once again, Wild Inferno on the clock, and this is why you give me captain's notes. Plays that are so spicy, he'll have you sweating bullets. It's X Red Pepper X1. Kingfisher, talk to me about the pepper.
Okay, I was not expecting the one end there. It got me a little bit, but another player that absolutely flamed me in in-houses the other day. Mechanically sound, and another solo laner, so now we're seeing yet another fully fleshed out roster. I think plays a Loki solo, which I don't even want to see. That's going to be absolutely disgusting if he gets that pick. And combined with the rest of the team, another really, really strong roster. I think we've talked a lot about the backline on this team and just how well they performed in scouting grounds and in general. So adding another strong frontliner, I really like to see from them. Red Pepper should fit really good with this team. I mean, 2 of them got X's to start their name. That's chemistry. You just really don't get that fast.
Yeah, it's you said it best, and I'm still on the pepper thing because the food theme is continuing. I don't really know how we've gotten to this point. All right, Sanctified on the clock, number 31. Who is it? Well, we are in need of ADCs. Who is King of Darkness' savior? It is full of shrimp. Kingfisher, we've got food, we've got peppers, there's shrimp on here. Talk to me about the shrimpy ADC.
I mean, we already saw another cephalopod on the last team with squid, but now it's full of shrimp. Another just insane name. I love players coming up with these usernames. It makes it so much fun to cast. But locking in an ADC now finally, yet another team where we should see every player with their starting role. And don't let the being picked lower down on the boards fool you. Plays a lot of really interesting picks. I mean, the Soul out of the duo lane right now, absolutely disgusting. The Rama is still one of the best physical ADCs we've seen. And paired up with your favorite, the Gibalanke. I mean, doesn't get much better than that. Just insane pressure, and all those picks, they're really, really different. But I think the playstyle is the same. Some you wait till late game, but just the pure damage output that's going to be coming from Foolish Shrimp should make Sanctified a really, really scary team the later it goes.
It should indeed. And just a reminder, as we are about to round out the fourth round here and start it going through with pick number 32, this is live. We thank you all for being here. There's new Twitch emotes. Try them out. Represent the teams you are rooting for so far. And thank you for being here as we round off the drafts heading into season number 2. All right. Pick number 32 for Flourish is Ethan D. Uchiha. And you know what? Cosmic Warrior somewhere is sweating bullets. This man was knocked up by a fire giant and got drafted regardless, so Cosmic Warrior can eat his words from that cast. Kingfisher, talk to me about Ethan.
Oh, I mean, in all fairness, was about 8 picks from being Drew. The Fire Giant knockups aside, another good, strong support, and yet another one of these team comps. We're going to see a full roster of their starting roles. It feels like I've been talking about it a lot with a few of these teams, but I think it's going to be so valuable, especially the further we go in the season, and just starting out in a place where everyone's comfortable, they can really gel together. And also, like the real Sylvanas on another team, does play Sylvanas out of support. So, I mean, if Flourish ever plays Oathkeepers, we're definitely going to see a fight over that god, but should bring a really, really strong presence to the Flourish, who now have all their starters rounded out, and they're going to be the first team with a full 6.
All right. Just like Kingfisher said, pick number 33 is Bluxer. Welcome to Divine Division. Kingfisher, keep on talking. Tell me about the jungle, solo, mid, and where we could look to see Bluxer on Team Flourish.
Yeah, I'd be interested to see if it's Blux or just Blur with an X. We're definitely going to have to ask him.
I like Bluxer, but it's probably Blur, so I'm just extra saying.
I was going to say,
we'll clarify.
Bluxer definitely has a nice ring to it. May have to change the pronunciation there. But I mean, plays jungle, plays solo, plays mid, so that whole side of the map. And if we're just kind of assuming it's going to be a sub, which I think we're going to do for most of these teams, we've definitely seen rotational starters a lot. And a lot of subs get insane playing time, so somebody that brings a really good depth of roles like that and plays some pretty meta gods in all of them, so should be able to come into this team and really perform any day of the week. I like this pick for Flourish, and it really rounds out the roster well.
All right, as we move on to Sanctified number 34, I would like to just reiterate and clarify. We will be doing a 48-hour stream as a fundraiser for the prize pool for the Season 2 finals. In doing so, in that 48-hour stream, we're not asking one streamer to do all 48 hours. We are looking for a multitude of streamers to go into different time slots during those 48 hours to get through the time frame and to help raise money as a community. So again, if you are a streamer and you want to stream on SDL and help out with that fundraiser, open a ticket and we will get you set up and talk about some information behind it, and we will look to see getting you into the 48-hour stream in the time slot as we try to get money for our prize pool for Season 2. All right. Sanctified is up with pick number 34. We've got Dark Fox Wolf. Kingfisher, that's a powerful name. Give me some details behind the mid-ADC solo.
I mean, mid-ADC solo, we're seeing another one of these subs with a really, really wide-reaching god pool, role pool, whatever you want to call it, and another returning name from Season 1. We've seen Dark Fox before as some really, really insane plays, and plays a lot of gods as well. I mean, for a sub, you really can't ask for much more out of that, and should still be able to see playing time. I think everybody on this Sanctified roster already is really, really good, so seeing Dark Fox Wolf go into any of those team comps, no matter what the situation is, should still be a really, really strong feeling from Sanctified. So yeah, shouldn't see much drop-off at all when we look at maybe having to switch players around. It's going to give this team a lot of versatility.
For sure, and something that every league coordinator touched on this a bit during their drafts and their respective time frames, but being a substitute here for Dark Fox Wolf, she's not necessarily going to be a sub. And you know what? Those subs in Season 1, Kingfisher, you and I casted what felt like 80% of the games. The amount of times that you and I saw a sub for a team carry them through, and in some cases get them to the playoffs, is completely mind-boggling. And I think going into this season, those subs and, speaking not just of Dark Fox Wolf in particular, but everybody else, they're going to be hugely important. All right. Moving on, we've got from Wild Inferno, pick number 35. Drafted this late due to hacking allegations. We love the captain notes. It's Hack Austin! Kingfisher, talk to me about the hacker, and let's hope that he's cleaned his recycling bin and there has not been any scripts found in the recycling bin today for the relic timers.
Oh, poor Tingo. Oh, yeah, but hopefully doesn't need to rely on relic timers, can count just fine to 120. We're seeing Hack Austin now, and I think, like you said last time, even though we keep saying sub for all of these, like you said, they all bring immense value to their teams, to their respective rosters, both in outside the game and inside it, and also plays a lot of the backline roles, mid, ADC, jungle. I think this is going to be a common theme we're seeing with these teams, especially given how many drafted a lot of solo laners. And when paired up with Red Pepper and Deputy Lucky, should just give Wild Inferno a lot of choices. If anything isn't working, they need to change it up. Getting this guy into any team, on any of the boards, I think, should really, really help their stock. Love seeing this pick from Wild Inferno.
I do as well, and I saw some fun reactions. It might be too soon, but I mean, come on, just add 160 seconds, and I promise you'll know when the relics are up. Pick number 36 from the Sunbreakers. Oof, Ducky. Another fun name. I've got a duck tattooed. I love some ducks. Kingfisher, talk to me about Ducky.
You said oof, and I thought something happened. I didn't realize that was part of the name. But yeah, oof Ducky. I mean, another one. I think we were talking about, was it Blur that played the whole side of the map, jungle, mid, solo? Like we said, brings a lot of depth to the roster again, and especially a lot of the picks. I love seeing this. They're all really aggressive. I mean, Poseidon, Awelix, Lancelot, Tyr should really match the rest of the Sunbreakers comp, who have a little bit more passive players, have a really good mix here. I always think of Cactus Arms as passive, Optic is aggressive, so it's going to be an interesting dynamic to see where Ducky's able to slot into this team comp, and they're going to be a really, really balanced team, which is definitely not something to overlook. I like seeing this from Sunbreakers, and now Oathkeeper's gonna be the next on the board. Not many spots to fill, but we're gonna have to see what they're able to do with their 6 men.
And with pick number 37, a player that you and I are both very familiar with, Fish, it's Giant Steve M's. Kingfisher, talk to me about the caster from Season 1.
Caster from Season 1, my old team captain. A lot of variety of roles there from Giants DMS. But, I mean, also plays absolutely every role on the board, has mid-jungle support listed. I've seen them in ADC and solo, definitely does just as well, and brings a lot of game knowledge too, which can never be overlooked. I think we've already talked about subs are important, but having somebody that's able to go in any day of the week into whatever this situation is and perform really strongly should be great for Oathkeepers. Excited to see how they match up with the rest of this team, which already has a lot of big names and big-time players on it.
Speaking of big-time players, speaking of big-time name, at pick number 38 from the Kingslayers, you come get some! 187 is selected. Kingfisher, give me some background information on the solo support ADC. Second player in a row from Kingslayer with those 3 roles, so definitely some good flexing going on Kingslayers.
Good flexing, but notably the 4th
team solo.
Primary solo. I mean, if we ever got outside sponsorship, Team Solo Mid would absolutely
they'd have a field day
here. I mean, it'd just be iconic. But I love this for the team. I feel like I touched about it when they drafted their 3rd solo laner in the draft. It's going to be an aggressive team. This is going to be a team that's going to really push the tempo, and having somebody with a like-minded mentality, you would imagine, given how similar their roles are, it's another sub that really is going to be able to fit easily into the team comp. I mean, 4 solos, I feel like there's not much else to talk on from that team.
It's a powerful landmark statement, realistically.
For sure, for sure.
All right. As we move on here, we are now on Eclipse. Rounding out Team Eclipse, with pick number 39. Fighting out of the ADC role, main, it's Cat. Kingfisher, talk to me about Cat. We talked in Scouting Grounds that there was definitely some shining mechanics there, if not a bit of a new competitive player, but the mechanics were there. There is some possibility for success on Eclipse. Talk to me about It's Cat.
Possibility for success in Smite and Golf, but yeah, I mean, another really diverse role player. ADC, mid, jungle, played all over the place in Scouting Grounds and in-houses alike, and another player with a really wide god pool. I think I talk about it a lot, but I love seeing that. It just brings so much value to the team in terms of what they can do. I think I covered that for Steel as well. It's a team that's going to be hard to ban against and a team that's going to perform well no matter how the meta changes. It's a long season, there can be a lot of differences, so a pick like this definitely should help this team kind of transition to wherever they need to be come playoff time.
All right, we are at the end of our draft. I'll have a couple housekeeping announcements for you to start off the beginning of Season 2 after this selection is locked in, so get some hype. I want to see our new team emotes in the Twitch chat. Let's celebrate the returning and the new faces with pick number 40. Dark Omen selects a cookie named Joe. Kingfisher, talk to me about a cookie named Joe, and then after you talk about it, we'll get some final words.
I mean, definitely gotta stay away from Joe if you're on a diet, but that being said, I mean, Remarkable Wolf was a Mr. Irrelevant with heavy air quotes of the Immortal draft, and seeing a similar pick here, a big name around the community, plays a lot of roles as well, ADC as well as solo and support. So we've seen Dark Omen, they got 3 solos already, add in a 4th backup solo, but I think we talked about it on Kingslayers, another team that should be very aggressive, wants to push the tempo. A cookie named Joe definitely gonna help in that regard.
All right, gentlemen, we are at the end of our draft, so let's start with you, Kingfisher. Give me your final thoughts and your take on the Divine Division, and then after that, we'll hear from you, Seal, and then I'll give us some closing thoughts.
Yeah, I mean, I think my first impression just has to be diversity. It felt like, I mean, I was on the Godlike draft. It felt like a lot of the players and captains in particular were coming in with really similar mindsets, similar strategies. All of these teams really went after their own unique players. And looking at the playstyles as well, there is a ton of synergy on these rosters. So I think right out of the gates, this should be one of the most competitive divisions. Obviously, as seasons go on, teams get better and better, players get more comfortable. But given the way this draft went, this is stacked up to be a really intense league from minute one.
For sure. Seal, go ahead. Give us your final thoughts here on the Divine Division.
Yeah, I've got nothing but love for all these players here. Even though I didn't make too many comments here, I've played with many of them, and I just want to say I can't wait to see how this season goes.
Simple, sweet, but true and powerful. It has been a wonderful Scouting Grounds. We've had 3 fantastic drafts, and we've got teams in all 3 divisions that are ready to hit the ground running. This is going to be a fantastic season number 2. If you are not drafted, your road does not end here. Between free agency, we've got tournaments all the time coming up. We've got in-houses every day, not to mention around the corner, the open circuit announcements. This is not where the road ends for you. This is where the road begins as you get to continue playing in one of the best communities that the SAL has to offer, SDL. I've been Anthony Mellum. I've had Kingfisher with me. We've had Seal. We thank Nathan for the beginning, and I Nooblet's been taking us through production. From the entire team of the Smite Draft League, thank you for participating, and we look forward to an amazing season number 2. Let's make it the best one yet, and the next of many. We'll see you next time in the Smite Draft League.
You say you need space, so I gave you all the states. Every night a different place. Used to think we're getting close, and now we're drifting away. And all I can say is